Well, hi guys, it's Sandy with a less than quick tip. I'm going to test some white things in order to make snow. And I wanted to do a quick test to show everybody what they look like on Copic and what they look like on watercolor paper. So I've colored a sheet of Neenah with some blue color, and I'm just going to write the name of the pen and do some dots because this is all about how to make snow for winter. And that was a Gelly Roll pen. Now this is the Distress White Picket Fence marker. And at first I was like, well, that's stupid. That doesn't do anything. And watch it come up like magic. If you want really soft snow, this is a great way to get soft snow. Of course, there's Prismacolor pencil. It's a little hard to draw snow dots with, but it is good for adding like highlights to things. So if you want to add a highlight on a snowy roof or something and make a little extra white, you could do that. The Uniball Signo pen is the one that I use and have used for years the most. This Delusions pen is pretty cool. It was hard to get it to start, but once I got it started, it worked really well. It comes in a 2-pack with a black one, and I just want to let you know the black one works well on Bible journaling. So if you are following my Bible journaling channel, stay tuned for that. If you're not a subscriber already, you can link in the doobly-doo and go find that. And this one is my new favorite, this Sharpie Dude. I am really excited about the Sharpie Dude. It's softer of a white than is the Uniball Signo pen, but I think it's going to work more consistently for people. So I highly recommend that one. I've been using it on a couple projects lately, and I found it works really well. With the watercolor paper, same deal. I'm just speeding through it because you don't need to see me in my crazy handwriting doing all this. I am going to test some other things and show you some samples later on in this video as well, so you can get an idea of what these look like actually in context. But that Sharpie works every time, doesn't need to be shaken at all. And just since I'm doing pens, there's a gold and a silver for the Uniball Signo pens, and they both work fabulously on both the Copic and watercolor. But you can see you're just going to get a different quality of white on each one of these. I wouldn't say any of them don't work at all, but there's some people that can't get a Uniball pen to work for them for the life of them. So here's some other options. And that's what you get, is some other options. And the Sharpie tends to work better not as writing, but as making dots, because the dots work really well. Now the other half of this piece of paper, I'm going to test a few other things, because I bought a couple things that I thought I'd try out and see what they do on the two different papers. This is the Distress Spray Stain in White Picket Fence from Ranger. And then this one is Goosebumps Textured, but this is the clear. I didn't realize I bought the clear, but I just wanted to show you what happens to it. You can test a color for yourself if you want. And then this one is Irresistible, and this one is a white spray, but it's also a textured spray. And so we're going to let those dry because they're, of course, sopping wet. I had to prop up my little mask paper. And I also did them on watercolor paper because I wanted to show you both of them. And on the watercolor paper, it had a whole lot better success with that one on the right-hand side, that Irresistible spray. Because look at what happened on my Copic. The Distress Spray Stain worked really great. I think that's going to work great on cards. The Goosebumps spray is textured, so it's really kind of cool. I'll show you a sample of something I used that on. And then this changes color. I would not recommend it for Copic because yuck, oh, what a mess that was. And then a closer look, of course, with the watercolor. The Distress is really soft on there, but it works. And the Irresistible works fabulously on here. If you're looking for something that's like you're doing a ski card and you want a spray of snow, that would be perfect. Now, I used the Goosebumps spray on this after I colored it. I masked off just with a sticky note most of the boat so I could spray the water and just throw some on there and add. And you can't see very much of it, but it's really cool in person that you get this really cool water-looking texture. And you can get that with glossy accents, but it's a whole lot easier with a spray bottle. So that was pretty fun to find out about on that particular card. And then this one was one that I did with the Gelly Roll pen. And it, has nice white dots on it. You can make them all different size dots. You can make them little dots. Just make sure you put your snow in front of your image as well as in your background, because it's going to snow over everything. Now the Signo pen here, the Uniball Signo, is what I used for the trees, and the Distress marker is what I used for the snow. And it does show up on both the light color and the dark color. It shows up better, of course, on the dark. And you kind of have to smooch it around a little bit to make big snowballs flying from the side. So like big soft flakes is what that's good for. And this is the Sharpie. There's going to be a whole video on making this card, but that's what the Sharpie looks like as dots. And I think that actually works really, really nicely. And I'm thinking that's what I'm going to call my favorite, especially for those who don't have success with the Uniball. And this is one, there's also going to be a video on where I use the Distress Spray Stain, and it can give you this really fine snow. And then I added a few dots with the Sharpie to make the big snowflakes. Now let's do a little test on this card. It was already painted and already mounted on a card, which is why I have it blocked off with sticky notes so I don't make a mess on it. But I'm using the Distress Stain Spray on top of watercolor, and this was Art Impressions watercolor stamps. And you have to practice with it, I would say, because I did a little too much of a splooge there in the middle. So I'm adding more to the other parts, but since it was a fall card, this is an easy way to turn it into a winter card by adding a whole bunch of snow to it. And I think the finished results are quite nice, even though I had that extra splooge in the middle there. So practice with it and get your hand working right. And since I had a few large dots in there, I decided to add a few more so it didn't look like they were accidents. Just added a couple more dots. And I think it worked really well. The longer it sat on there, it kind of melted into the paper a little, so it didn't end up looking as harsh as it did when I first sprayed it. But that came out really cool. So if you're looking for a new pen or a white pen to use for your snow on your Christmas cards, here you go. There's some suggestions for you. Links in the doobly-doo for all of them, of course, so you can check them out and get yourself ready to make Christmas cards. And I'll see you guys later. Have a really awesome day.